Alright, signal and train control rule standards instructions, single train control 3 interlocking systems, subpart C. Learning objectives. Understand that these regulation engineering design standards and must be incorporated within the design absolute block systems. Understand the actions taken during the installation maintenance modification system must not negate these design standards. Caution, the following presentation will provide general information only for the detailed compliance information. Please refer to Title 49 CFR 236 Rule Standard Instructions, Subpart C, Signal and Train Control Technical Manual recommended by each employee. Refer to the appropriate manual regulation when dealing with any specific issue. Information. The FAA Rule Standard Instruction consider the minimum standard allowed for the installation, inspection, maintenance, and repair of the signal and train control system device. Applying with each railroad may adopt more stringent standards. Refer to the Railroad Signal Standard Instruction Manual for further guidance. The interlocking plant. 1870, the first interlocking machine was built in England by John Saxby. In 1856 became popular in England, but it took nearly 15 years for the technology to cross the Atlantic. The first Saxby farmer interlocking machine was American, was installed in Trenton, New Jersey in 1870. What is an interlocking? The American Association Railroad definition: interlocking arrangement, signal and signal appliances operated from an interlocking machine interconnected from the movement that must succeed each other with proper sequence. Interlocking, stop this. And then it shows, train collision. There are two types of interlocking: manual and automatic. Automatic interlocking definition: 236.750. Interlocking automatic arrangement, signals with or without the other signal applying with the function through the inherent powers, distinguished from those with the function of the control manually, in which are so with the interconnected means electrical circuit, that their movements must succeed each other. The proper sequence of the train moves overall of the routes being governed by a signal indication. Automatic interlocking: fixed approach interlocking limits. Interlocking limited definition: limited to interlocking the tracks between the opposing home signal other than interlocking. Manual interlocking: 236.751 interlocking manual arrangement, signal appliances operated from an interlocking machine so interconnected with the mechanical and or electronic locking that their movements must succeed each other. The proper sequence, train movements overall of the routes being governed by a signal indication. Manual interlocking: there are several different types of manual interlocking, include mechanical, electric, pneumatic, electric, and electronic. Each of these terms is descriptive of how the interlock is powered. Standards: where signals shall be provided, with the rule requires signals to provide with the governed train movements into, through, and through interlocking limits. Where signals shall be provided, except for the signal shall not be required for the governed movements over the hand-operated switch. Interlocking limited with switch is provided with electrical lock derail with a clearance point, either pipe connected or to the switch or independently locked electrically. Where the signal shall be provided, signals shall be provided with the governed movements into, through the interlocking limited. Rules apply with the interlocking for the traffic control system, where signals should be. And then it shows track circuit when the route, the interlocking track circuit with the route should be provided with the shall be effect with the first pair of wheels of the locomotive of the car that passes no more than 13 feet in advance for the signal governing with the movement measured from the center of the mass, or there is no mass from the center of the signal. 236.761 lock route. Electrical locking effective when the train passes signal displaying aspect of the perceived prevents the movement of any switch movable point frog derail in advance for the train when the route is entered. It may be so arranged that the train is cleared with the track section of the route and the lock affecting the section is released. Track circuit route locking. Track circuit route locking. Control circuit for the signal selection through the circuit control of the operator switch points or by switch locking mechanism. The control circuit for the aspect of the indication more favorable to see with a restricted speed. Signals governing movement of movable devices shall be deselected with the circuit control operated directly by the switch point by switching lock mechanism. Control circuit signal selection through circuit controller operated by switch point or by switching lock mechanism. Although or through relay controlled such by such circuit control for the movable device route for the governed by such signal circuit shall be arranged so that the signal can display it in an aspect more favorable than preceded. Restricted speed only when each device in the route is properly in position. The switch position. Mechanical interlocking or same protection effective thy circuits. Mechanical interlocking or same protection effective the mains of circuit shall be provided. Meaning mechanical locking or same protection affected circuits. Approach and time locking. Approach and time locking should provide with a connection signal the display aspect for the indication of more favorable proceed at restricted speed. The approach and ensure that the time must be remain locked until safe to unlock. Time locking. Locking time. A method of locking, either mechanical or electrical, whichever after the signal has been called with the display with the aspect with the proceed with the prevents until after the expiration of a predetermined time interval. As such, the signal has been called to display with a more restrictive aspect in operation. Any interlocked electrically locked switch, movable point frog derail the route governed by the signal, which prevents the aspect of the proceed from the being displayed with the conflicting route. Approach locking shows 5-second loss of shunt time only on the OS track circuit. Approaching lock definition. Locking approach 236.76. 0. Electric lock effective with the train is approaching with specify the distance signal to display with the aspect proceed with the prevents until the expiration predetermined interval after such signal has been caused to display most restricted aspect of the moment of the interlock with the electrically locked switch movable point of frog derail on the route governed by the signal which prevents an aspect proceed with the being displayed of any of the conflicting route. Face point locking lock or switch unlock movement. Face point lock switch and lock movement. It shall be provided with a mechanically operated switch, movable point of frog, or split point derail. And light indication locking. Indicating locking must provide an operative approach signal and sophomore type power operated home signal power operated switch. Movable point frogs or derails for all approach signals except light signals. Indication lock definition. Locking indication electrical lock prevents manipulation level with the result in an unsafe condition. Try to move the signal switch or other operative in the unit until it fails to movement. Corresponding to that, the control lever will directly prevents the operation signal switch of the operative unit. In this case, another unit which shall be operated if the first fails, make the required movement. Mechanically, electrical circuits requisite. Mechanical, electrical, locking electrical circuits should be installed to prevent signal with the display aspect with the permanent conflicted movements. Laws of shunt protection when required. While a train is transverse interlocking plan with the automatic or manual, there is possibility of the losing shunt. Should this occur, the importance of the route is established for the train not be released. If the route were allowed to be released, another route could be established resulting in conflicting train movements. Signal governing approach at home signal. Signal should provide with the main track with the governing approach for the current traffic with the home signal. Generally speaking, signal that requires a stop requires an approach and signal braking distance from the front of it. There are exemptions to this rule. Home signal definition. Signal home, the roadway signal with the entrance to the route with the block with the governed trains entering the eve of the route or block. Signal governing approach with the home signal speed between the home signal and the interlocking control points over the exceeded 20 miles per hour and operative approach signal must be provided. Approach signal definition. Signal approach or roadway signal either the governed approach with another signal operative the operated controlled indication furnished with the advanced information indication of the next signal. Signal control signal selections through the track relays, device function, track relays, and other signal mechanisms for the contact time and release automatic interlockings. 236.311. The rule ensure that before the aspect of the indication more favorable for the precede restricted speed can be displayed with the track relays, device and function of the track relays, all track circuits en route with the governor indicating the rule route is unoccupied. Movable bridge interlocking signal applying with the bridge and device. The rules require that the interlocking move with the bridge interconnect with the bridge device. The bridge must be properly locked and track properly aligned before the signaling government over the bridge can display an aspect to proceed. Shows movable the bridge interlocking signal applying to the device and a Baskel bridge. It shows a lift bridge, a swing bridge, movable bridge interlocking signal applying with the bridge device. For more information regarding movable the bridge interlocking signal with the bridge refers to the signal train control module STC3A movable the bridge. Electrical lock hand operated switch. If the derail rule requires each hand operated switch derail with the interlocking limits where the train speed exceeds 20 miles per hour be electrically locked. Rules and instruction. Mechanical locking remove the disarranged requirements of the permitting train movement through the interlocking. The rule prescribes the proceed of the train operation through the interlocking when the mechanical interlocking is to be changed but is removed from the machine or locking becomes disarranged or broken. Switch movable the pointer frog split point derail. The rule required for the lock rod switch movable the pointer frog split point derail so drift of the lock and prevent with the switch point obstructed with 3/8 of an inch or more obstruction. Shows a face point lock. Face point lock definition. Locking a face point mechanical lock of switch derail move with the pointer frog compromising a plunger stand with a plunger with it engages a lock rod attached to the switch point to lock operated unit. Shows a bolt lock. Your lock bolt definition: lock bolt 236.756 a mechanical lock arranged so that the switch or derail move with the point frog is not proper position. Train movement that signal the governor movement that cannot display with the aspect of the proceed will prevent movement of the switch derail pull movable point frog and lift the signal display with the most restricted speed. Shows a picture of the locking dog and switch lock movement. The pointed detector points to detection switches, closed switch, open switch, mechanical detection, electrical detection, combined pointer mechanism, standalone, independent on point on lock. The dog stop trunnions and mechanical locking, rigid fasten driving pieces. Dog stops, trunnion swinging, dogs full and free move, and the top plate securely fastened in place. Locking bed 236-336. Locking bed support stop rails must be securely fastened and aligned properly to permit free with the operation of locking. Bed locking. Definition 236.706. The part of the interlocking machine that contains the hold, the tabs, locking bars, cross locking dogs, or other apparatus used to interlock the levers. Locking face of the mechanical locking fit 236-337. Locking face securely against each other when locked, minimum or engagement of at least one half. Mechanical locking required accordance with the locking sheet and dog. Mechanical locking maintenance requirement. Locking and connection maintained with the motion levers and latches when locked do not exceed prescribed tolerances, such as cam plate, roller, driver bar, tappet irons. Electrical mechanical interlocking machine locking between electrical mechanical lever. The mechanical levers operate switch move with the point frog with the rails must be locked electrical levers. Latchet shoes rocker links and quadrants. Switch circuit controls 236-342. Switch circuit controls must be maintained and should have their contacts open with a 1/4 inch obstruction either the normal or reverse switch point. Inspection and test. Mechanical locking 236-376. The rule requires the testing mechanical locking, new locking installed when the change of the locking when the locking is restored after being disarranged require the complete test of all the mechanical locking at least once every 2 years. Approaching lock 236-377. The rule requires the approaching lock to be tested and installed, modified, disarranged for at least once every 2 years after approach. The 236-378 time locking rules require times locking to be tested with installed, modified, disarranged, and at least once every 2 years thereafter applied with the interlocking traffic control system. Route locking. The rule requires route and any other type of switch locking tested be when installed, modified, disarranged at least once every 2 years thereafter. Indication locking 236-380. The rule requires indication locking to be tested and installed with the modified, disarranged at least once every 2 years thereafter. Traffic locking 236-381. Once the signal is clear over the route, traffic locking prevents the direction of the traffic from being changed over the route until the governing signal has been set with a stop at the appropriate amount of the time has expired. Switch obstruction test. The switch obstruction gauge. The valve 236-383 valve locks and valve magnets. The rule requires valve locks or on valves of the non-cutoff type to be tested at least once every 3 months, and valve magnets to be tested once every year. Cross protection. Railroads often use poor relays interlocking to detect crosses between various power supplies. 236-386 restoring feature on the power switches. The rule requires restoring feature on the power switches to be tested once every 3 months. Shows a movable bridge locking. And you can see it move. Alright, signal and train control fundamentals, Title 49 CFR 236, subpart C, interlockings at the end. Testing.